Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm about to explain how do you get rid of cravings forever. Gone, goodbye, kiss those cravings goodbye forever. We're going to talk about that, and especially if you're in menopause, you know sometimes you get really, really bad cravings. Well, let me just explain that cravings are, well, they have different causes. We're going to talk about the four main causes of cravings and how to fix each one. But before we get into that, I just want to explain some of the myths and some case studies so that you understand that this is normal. This is natural. Everyone beats themselves up when they have cravings. There's a reason you're having them, and if we go to the root cause, you'll never get them again. So one of the myths, actually two of the big myths, and I hear this all the time. Stu, I say, what do you need? I'm talking to someone, a client, I'm like, what do you think you need to succeed? And they go, I just need more willpower. I need more willpower. I'll be doing good, and then I go to an event, or my sister comes over, or my brother comes over, or whatever. My friends, I hang out with my friends, and there's the cupcake, or there's the this or that, and I just don't have enough willpower. It's not willpower, okay? The other one I hear all the time is, I need more discipline. I need more self-discipline. I need to not eat these things. I need to not do them. This is kind of like willpower. That's not the problem. That's not the cause. Now, I've had a couple of clients who suffered big time with cravings, okay? One of them was named Denise, okay? And she had your typical cravings either through the day or at night, which was one of the reasons she had a hard time losing weight. And we got rid of the craving quickly and did some other things, obviously. She was eating, she learned how to eat right. She was eating the right food at the right time in the right combination. She was also doing the right type and amount of exercise, and wham, her body completely shifted. I had another client named Patty. Same thing. Would get kind of the boredom cravings or, just did different things, different reasons, and would just get, I'm jonesing for this, or I'm jonesing for that. And again, one of the funny things was I told her, your cravings are going to vanish when you start working with me. And she said, no, I don't think so. And then sure enough, she goes, oh my gosh, dude, I can't believe it. No cravings. I haven't craved anything for months and months. This is what happens. So you don't need more willpower. You don't need more discipline. What you need to do is address all of the root causes. And we're going to go through that step by step. So you want to stay with me. We're going to go through each one of the causes. You'll be able to determine in the future what's causing your craving and then which solution you need to get rid of it. Aha! So let's get started. Number one. This is really the number one cause of cravings for almost everyone. NEF. Not eating enough. Oh, NEE. Not eating enough. Not enough food. Okay, NEF, not enough food. Okay, not enough food or calorie restriction. That's what that means. Too many people try to lose weight by cutting calories. I've done a whole lesson about not to do that, and why not? Go check that out. You don't want to count calories. You don't want to restrict calories. You don't want to restrict carbs. You don't want to do time-restricted intermittent fasting. All of these things cause cravings. This is not the best way to lose weight. So what's the solution? Stop restricting. Stop doing these diets. My clients, trust me, they're never hungry. They never have craving. They're stuffed. They're full. They feel satisfied because they're doing it right. They're eating enough. They're not cutting carbs. They're not doing some weird time restriction. I can only eat between this time and this time. And this is not good. No wonder you have cravings. And that's why most people do. They cut the cravings, they start exercising, and they get tired, their energy goes down, they get carb depleted, and then I need sugar, I need carbs, I need food, and then they see the muffin or the donut or the cupcake, I can't, their mouth starts watering, and they can't resist, okay? So number one, not enough food. Calorie restriction or carb restriction. Stop restricting. Now, when you eat enough, and you should be eating more, right food, right time, right combination. I did a whole lesson on that. You can check that out. You will not have cravings. ever again unless you have a couple of the other triggers that we're about to talk about. So that's number one. You get rid of that. You stop restricting. That's the main reason you have cravings, and they'll go away. But let's look at some other triggers that still might come up, but you can still get rid of once and for all. Number two is a physiological craving. Physiological. Well, technically not eating enough food is, but also if you do something wrong, you don't combine the foods right. You eat the wrong food at the wrong time of day. You eat too much of one thing, not enough of another. You're going to cause your blood sugar to become very unstable. Now, this also happens when you're doing things like low carb and fasting, is you'll create these blood sugar dips and spikes. Well, here's what happens. You'll create a blood sugar dip, then your body releases hormones to bring your blood sugar back up to normal, which is good. But then when you eat, the body kind of overcompensates, and then you create a spike. When you create a blood sugar spike, the body then releases insulin to try to bring that blood sugar back down. Sometimes it releases too much insulin, and it's not quite right, and the blood sugar then kind of tanks a little bit too much, dips again. Now, we know this when we see it with kids. This is the sugar high followed by the sugar crash, okay? Where the kids have the pixie sticks, and then, 5 minutes later, they're bouncing off the walls, buzzing around. Oh my gosh, what happened? And then, 30 minutes to an hour later, they just hit the wall. They're a zombie, and they're looking for more sugar because their blood sugar has now dipped again. This can happen if you're not eating correctly. You'll create this dip, and then you get cravings because you're physiologically out of balance. Your blood sugar is out of balance, and that causes a craving. Again, you want to make sure that you're getting the combination and the timing of your foods correctly. That will eliminate any of this blood sugar instability and these blood sugar crashes, and that will eliminate that type of craving. Well, that might happen every once in a while. You're out and about, you forget something, you just forget to eat. You eat, there's only something bad available and you're starving and you eat it and then it throws you all out of bounds. I mean, these things are going to happen. But you can avoid them for the most part. Okay, number 3 is emotional triggers. Now see, even if you got these first 2 physiologic ones correct, you might still have emotional triggers. This can happen because, back sometime when you were a little kid and you got upset, you came home crying, and maybe your parents gave you some sort of a candy or an ice cream or some sort of special food to kind of console you. This is not bad. This is kind of a normal human trait. Like we want to make someone feel better, and so we give them food or we give them something special. Well, what happens when you treat it with food at a young age is you start associating it with some sort of an emotional treatment. Okay, so what happens is now that you're an adult, you get triggered. A lot of things can trigger you. Have a terrible day, something stressed at work, something happens in your relationship. I mean, anything can trigger you. And wham, your body's immediate response, the neural pathway, is food. Maybe even specific foods that you had when you were a kid. And you talk to a lot of adults and they'll say, I remember going to this restaurant or having this food, or it was such a special treat, and it's really emotional for them still 30, 40 years later. This is real. What do? Because we're all of us are going to eventually have some sort of an emotional trigger at some point. The best thing to do is something called a tapping technique. I think the official name for this is EMF, EFM, EFT, emotional freedom technique. And it's a series of pressure points that you tap on your body that kind of shuts down that neural pathway, okay? Well, this is really good because if you do the tapping, you may only have to do it once, maybe 2 or 3 times total whenever you get that emotional trigger, and it'll get rid of it completely forever. Forever. You disrupt it, and now you might get emotionally triggered, but you don't have that response where you seek out these certain types of foods or destructive behavior. Helps with addiction, helps with phobias, you name it, okay? This is a great, wonderful technique to wipe that out completely. Now, that doesn't mean you'll never get emotionally triggered again. You will absolutely have triggers in your life, but they won't cause the eating or response where you get cravings. That'll be gone. You'll just have an emotional bad day or some trigger that makes you upset. But this will eliminate the craving and the food addiction. So, very simple. Now, the tapping technique, you can look this up. I may do a lesson on that. I may not. There's so many of them out there. I'll see if I can find a link to a good one. And just do that a couple times. It'll flatten it out. You're good to go forever. Forever. And I've done this. My clients do it. And they always tell me, oh my God, Stu, I never would have believed it. I did that stupid tapping technique thing that you showed me. It actually worked. Yeah, okay, I know it's a weird thing, but it does, and you only have to do it once or twice, and then it's done. Okay, let's look at the final reason that you get cravings. It's a mental trigger, which could include also boredom. And there's one other thing, as you're watching like TV or something, and there's a commercial with some sort of a something, fast food or dessert or something, and seeing it causes this mental trigger, okay? What do you do then? Because see, this is when most people get cravings. They're done for the day. Now they kind of relax. They're not busy. They're not distracted anymore. They sit down after dinner and they go, oh man, I really got a craving for chips or pretzels or, ice cream or, cookies or whatever it might be. And this is more of a boredom thing, a mental thing. Or you're sitting down watching TV and you see a commercial and you go, oh man, that looks so good. I want some of that. Okay, there's two ways to handle this. You can do the tapping technique again. That you can absolutely do. But because it may not be a specific neural pathway, that won't always work. But I would try the tapping technique first because it is very powerful. And it might work and you're like, oh, I'll be darned. That's okay. My craving's gone. Okay, perfect. If it doesn't work, you need to do some sort of a distraction. Now, there's a great book, I think it was called Influencer or something like that, and they did a study in the book, long story short, where they took kids and they sat them in a table, and in front of them was like a marshmallow or a cookie or something like that, and they told them, if you don't eat the cookie, we'll give you 2 or whatever, and then the person would leave the room as like, had the one-way glass or whatever, and some of the kids caved. They couldn't make it, and some of the kids were fine. They didn't eat the cookie. They withheld. They resisted temptation, and so they looked at what were the kids doing. Did they have any commonalities? The ones who were able to resist the cookie or the marshmallow, I can't remember what it was. Yes, they all had commonalities. They distracted themselves. Okay, and I'm not making this up. One kid was like counting the little dots on the ceiling tiles. One kid turned their chair around so they couldn't see the thing. One kid was doing some sort of counting thing, blah, 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 keeping their mind occupied, okay? So if you can distract yourself for just a little bit, 2 to 5 minutes is what they said, your craving will be done, over. Now, assuming it's none of these, right? If it's physiological, that's not going to work. If you're not eating enough food or you're restricting, that's not going to work. If it's an emotional trigger, again, probably not going to work. This is only for the mental boredom / you just saw it on TV and it triggered a little bit of a desire. Go walk somewhere. Go brush your teeth. Go do something for a couple minutes and then it'll go away. The key is, can you remember to do these things in the moment? See, what happens is you learn these, you go, oh, this is fantastic. But then the next time you have a craving, you eat the food and then you go, oh, I forgot I should have done the tapping thing or I should have done the distraction thing. So what you have to do is you have to kind of mentally practice this a little bit. Visualize yourself in that situation. Okay, the next time I get a craving, if it's this, prep yourself. Just think, give this a little bit of thought. So it implants the picture, the image. It's like a rehearsal. It implants it into your subconscious so that when the next time happens and you are knee deep in cravings, you remember it pops up. You go, oh yeah, let me try this thing. And you do it and you go, holy cow, it worked. This will flatten out all types of cravings. You'll never have a craving again. These are in order of importance, okay? You've got to eat enough food, plain and simple. You've got to make sure you're combining and timing correctly for the physiological response. And then you need to know the emotional counteractions to some of these triggers, boredom, mental, emotional, whatever. But I'll tell you, my clients who work with me, they never have another craving. And they are just astounded how these cravings just vanish. Okay, so this is how you do it. Now, I'm going to splash up a couple other videos. You're going to want to watch these. Some exercise videos and some nutrition videos, because this is how you need to put everything together. You can't just do one thing. This is great. Of course, this is great tools, but it's more than that. You have to do things holistically. Your body, it's not in a vacuum, okay? Everything affects everything else. So you've got to do it right. I'll see you over there, and I hope this was helpful. All right, take care.